Hey Planet Watchers, how's everybody doing? I hope everybody's fine, and I really hope you are enjoying your ride with PlanetWatch. As for myself, to be perfectly honest, I'm a bit tired, but I think I'm gonna make it because nobody has ever died because of too many good news, so I guess I will survive. Maybe my strength was in my hair and I cut it too short. I don't know, that's a possibility, but yeah, all in all, things are going very well. So it's time to give you an update as usual. I have some very nice pieces of news, and unfortunately, things that don't work perfectly and are not perfectly on time are the most visible ones sometimes. So we'll discuss that. What is less visible is that all in all, things are progressing extremely well, and I think we are bound to make some very interesting announcements in October. But let's do one thing at a time. So things that were promised and that I mentioned last time. We'll put online tomorrow forms to collect your questions about technology and science matters. Now, by technology matters, I need questions related to maybe the details of the functioning of our systems, blockchain, interfaces, apps, web apps, and all these things. So if you have tech questions, I'm not the right person to answer that question. So we put up a separate form, and some competent person will answer maybe weekly or twice a month. Likewise, if you have questions, and I hope you do because it's important, about what exactly we are measuring and we are learning from your sensors data. What is the difference between PM 2.5 and PM 10? Why are VOC important? Why you see an increase in CO2 when you spend a long time in a room? All these questions, there will be again a separate form. That's what I call science questions, or environmental question if you prefer, and you'll be welcome to submit your questions, and a competent person will be answering, right? I think we'll put on the forms online tomorrow, and then weekly or bi-weekly we'll give the answers. Now, some cool news about sensors. Last time I mentioned I was going to meet with people who manufacture Aquino, who are also making a prototype for a new Type 2 device. So I went there, I saw a preliminary device, and I think it's very, very cool. I want to give you the details because we are still discussing the details, but broadly speaking, we call it Type 2 because it will feature a PM 2.5 dust sensor, GPS, connectivity, and so that will fit the bill for what we call Type 2, and a solar panel. So it's a very cool, nice little device, easy to operate, and I think it will make a lot of sense to onboard it into our world. Again, about sensors. Again, tomorrow we'll put online a new sensor page. The current one is not very complete. Some information was outdated. So the new one gives you the relevant information about the relevant sensors. And little surprise, at last, our Atma 2 Pro stock is now available on Amazon.com. However, you're not going to find it if you search on the Amazon.com website. That's done on purpose because we don't want non-PlanetWatch people to scoop it out in 10 seconds. So you'll only be able to access that product via a link on our own website. So that should mitigate the risk that other people scoop them. So again, tomorrow, just check it out. Check our new sensor page. If you're interested in Atma 2 Pro, click on the button and you'll be able to access the stock. It's on the US Amazon website, so Amazon.com, but I understand that people from a number of other countries are also, in principle, eligible to buy. Okay. So, these are good things. Now, just an update on things that have been announced. I mentioned the Stake for the Planet initiative. So the news is that I assigned today the contract with our partner, and it will work broadly speaking this way. We will jumpstart purchase, let's say, of 1,000 trees in sustainable forest. That will be the seed of the PlanetWatch forest. And if you will participate in our Save for the Planet initiative, for example, say for the month of November 2021, we will create a sub-forest related to stakers in November 2021. And depending on the amount of planets being staked there, we will essentially transfer forests from trees from our forest to people who participate, to that community, to the community that's staked in that month. So this will be more clear as soon as we activate the website. It will be, I believe, quite cool and quite coherent with what we've been doing and advocating. Likewise, we are closing a partnership for some very high-profile, very advanced air purifiers. Again, I'd rather sign the contract first and then disclose what we are offering you. So the thing is, you'll be able to use your planets to buy these air purifiers. Now, please get this right. Read my lips. Air purifiers will not generate tokens. You will not earn tokens if you have an air purifier. That is not the purpose. An air purifier is something that improves your health at home. It's not related, it doesn't send data to us, so it doesn't earn tokens. I just hope everybody gets this right. So it's nothing to do with the tokens. It has to do in the sense that you can buy via tokens, but it doesn't generate tokens, okay? And again, once this contract is signed, we'll disclose the device and we give you all the information you need, and we will probably create a dedicated page on our website for people who want to buy them via planets. Okay, this is all good. Things which are not exactly on schedule, less amusing, but still on the right track. Our app, I've been announcing several times the release of our new app, saying that it's a wonderful app, that it will sort out a number of issues. The app, to be transparent, is still being tested as we speak. Why? Because we are just being very careful in testing, because the app will, among other things, manage licenses. So it has to be perfect from day one. We don't want any major bug into it. So I expect next week they will be published. Both the iOS and the Android version will be published and available, if all goes well, and now it's going well. So I think it will be worth the wait. Another thing which is not perfect, let's put it this way, is the delay in the delivery of Kythera Sensage sensors. Now, this is beyond our control because it's a customs issue. Now, customs, you know, is not exactly very friendly as a partner. So the ball is in our field. We just received the bill for a lot of tax. We're gonna pay it after we understand exactly the steps that we need to take. But this will be sorted in a matter of a few days. So don't worry about the delay for this. Apologies, but again, customs and logistics is one of those areas where it's hard to get it right every time by the second. Incidentally, talking about customs, I believe it's worth reminding you that there are things which are beyond our control, and you need to know that. So, you know, when you order a sensor, there are terms and conditions that you subscribe to. We state that we are not responsible neither for customs cost after we sell to you. Now, we are covering customs cost for the bulk delivery to us of these sensors, obviously. However, once you purchase and the sensor is shipped from our warehouse to your house, you might incur additional customs cost, and we don't cover that. So you have to know that. And we cannot also be kept responsible for delays related to customs. Another area which is very sensitive is, if we talk about Arduino, for example, is internet connectivity via mobile network coverage. You should not install or plan to install an Arduino in an area where you know that it's not good. There is no good network coverage, because it just won't work, and we just need to avoid it. in this context, since I know that some problems have occurred, I should stress that each Arduino sensor is tested before delivery, including for SIM connectivity. So the SIM card works. What can happen is that in specific areas, the SIM is unable to connect to the local network because the signal is not sufficient most of the time. In this case, the best we can do for you is to issue a full refund of sensor and license, but that will be only on a case-by-case basis. It's not a blank check. So if the GPS and or the SIM card don't work properly in an area with verified network coverage, so we will be making inquiries with our connectivity provider, we will check the network coverage, and if the coverage is supposed to be good and adequate and still doesn't work, then we can issue a refund. But if you try to install it in an area which is not suitable, that's a different story. Okay, so I will, since this stuff is a bit sensitive, I realize it. I will write a blog post with a more in-depth explanation of all these matters. Okay, so we are trusting you guys. You should trust us, I believe, and we all want to. We have a common goal: building a network which is relevant. We are very transparent, so if there is a real issue, we'll talk and we'll try to find a solution. But you should not expect that we can sort out magically any situation when it's beyond our control, in particular when mobile network issues are involved. Okay, another thing I'd like to mention, for the sake of managing the community in the best possible way, please do not send direct messages to mods or to managers, including myself. That would not be an efficient way to communicate with the community. I frankly have no time to do much more than breathing, and somebody doing PlanetWatch has to breathe, obviously. So please, direct messages are not a good way to sort out issues and communicate. The default manner is a ticket, but please, before you open a ticket, make sure you go through the following steps. Read the posts been pinned on our Telegram group, which provides a bit of information. Have also read the white paper, because if you have questions about what does a pixel mean and stuff like that, it's all spelled out in the white paper. If you still have questions, you might see whether a mod is nice enough to give you some answer, to an additional answer, but we really made an effort to explain everything in the white paper, and hopefully it's clear enough. Finally, there are FAQs on the support system. Now, we have changed our service provider for the support system. Now we are working with Zendesk, which is the best and the most expensive in town. I believe at technical level it works great. We have FAQs within the support system, so please read it if you have questions. Because, sorry, but if you open a ticket and the answer is contained in the FAQs or in the pin post or something like that, we may not answer, and because we need to optimize the way we use time in the project. So, okay, so that was my introductory points. I believe now I should just answer a few questions that you asked. So let's go through some questions. Okay, first question is, are there any plans to add air filters to the network? So the thing is, people get information from their own sensors, they get some alerts, they get worried, so they would like to do something to mitigate pollution, which is, of course, the right thing to do. Now, as I just said, purifiers, advanced purifiers are coming in the sense that you'll be able to buy them with planets. Over time, we might offer additional devices for specific situations, but of course, since as usual, we only want to offer stuff which is good value for money, reliable and tested. We don't do these things in a rush. Second question, aside from Bitmart, is there a plan for other exchanges? Yes, of course, sir. We will be soon listed on Bitmart. Now soon means that I'm waiting for feedback from Bitmart, but I mean, I think we are on target for the expected date, which was stated as end of September. So hopefully 1 to 2 weeks from now will be listed there. Emirex is also coming soon. DeFi on Algorand is about to be launched by a number of projects, and I think that will be a great tool to leverage for planets, and that will be more exchanges. So we are talking to exchanges, we are talking to lots of people, and I think the interest for PlanetWatch is raising by the day. And you know how these things work. I mean, if nobody knows you, you knock on the door, they won't even bother to talk to you. It comes to a point where you stop knocking on the door and you get lots of knocks on yours. And I believe we are reaching that point now. There is another question, or maybe even complaint, should I say, about the activation process for Type 1 sensors. It takes a bit of time. Now, we are talking to the manufacturer all the time and trying to improve the process as much as possible. Still, improving the onboarding of Type 1 could take some time, but we are aware that this needs some improvement. There is a question, but there is some concern, and again, this comes up every time almost. It's about Type 4 reaching saturation points soon. And how were the saturation points determined? My perception is that some people regard attaining saturation as doomsday or nuclear war or something like that. Okay, I'll tell you what it is. Saturation to me is a goal, it's not a threat. Maybe the choice of word, maybe the word saturation is a bit ambiguous, it doesn't sound good because it suggests inconvenience, but it is a goal really, because we need, let me put it this way, we need at least to attain the saturation figures in order to have a relevant network. So remember that data monetization, which is a goal here, depends on the size of the network. It's a bit different for outdoor and indoors, but in order to be relevant, we need to be big. Big data. Green big data. It's as simple as that. Well, maybe it's not simple, but believe me, if we reach saturation, it's a milestone on growing the network. It's something we will talk about because it's a milestone. And the more data we can gather and process and analyze, the more we become relevant and the more our data are develop business value as well as science value. So please don't worry about saturation. I look forward to saturation, and I don't think you should worry under any point of view, if you see what I mean. Legitimate question. Somebody is asking whether any price changes are foreseen for Equino. Somebody just bought a license, but of course there is a long waiting list, so it is indeed a legitimate question to say what happens between now and when I bought my license today because I've seen a price which I think I can afford, but what happens if you raise prices later? Now, let me be, as usual, very transparent. For sensors not sold by us, obviously, we have no control on prices. It's as simple as that. That's one thing. For sensors that we sell, which we have first bought in bulk at some fixed price and then we sell to the community, of course, this is different. So in the future, there might be price changes for items that we buy in bulk. For example, if the bulk price for us is raised, or even changes maybe in shipping fees, because with all this, in this complicated world of customs and pandemics, there are lots of uncertainties. But I'm going to take a very strong commitment today to fairness, what I regard as fairness in this respect. So our commitment is the following. If you buy your license on a specific date, because you want to buy a device that goes with that license, for example, Type 1 Equino, you will eventually get the device at the price which was effective on the date of your license purchase. assuming you purchase the device when we tell you, hey, that's available for purchase. So let me make an example if this doesn't sound terribly clear. Suppose somebody buys a Type 1 license on October 10 because they want to get an Arduino. And currently Arduino is priced as 1,350 euros plus VAT wherever applicable, plus shipping fees wherever applicable. In generally speaking, we're not charging shipment, I believe, now. So the only other thing you might incur as a fee is the customs. So I've seen a Type 1 license, I can afford the license. At today's price, I can afford the Arduino, so I want to go for it. Then it's not impossible that in the future we are bound to raise the price of, for example, Arduino by whatever, 100 euros, 200 euros. So what happens now if on November 1st we raise the price of Arduino? You who bought a license when the price was 1350 for Arduino, you will get your Arduino at 1350 plus tax plus blah 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 if applicable. And the only condition is that when we tell you, hey, this is ready to be purchased at 1350, you are ready to buy it. Because if you say, not now, maybe in 6 months' time, of course, then the offer is no longer valid. So once again, you buy a license today, for example, because or let's say tomorrow we revamp the sensor webpage so prices will be spelled out very clearly. So you see the prices of sensors tomorrow. You say you like that. You buy a license tomorrow. Some price changes 1 month down the line. You still haven't received an email from us telling you can buy because the stock is not ready. You can wait and be confident that when you get your email, you will buy at the price that you saw when you bought the license. I hope this is clear, and I hope you find this fair. I think that's as fair as we can be. Next question, is Planet going to be listed on Binance? Well, we hope so. There are a number of reasons why I believe it's not unrealistic at all in due course. And again, I don't want to spoil or I don't like to say things when it's too early, as you know, but I think we are on a very good track, and we'll disclose more in the coming weeks. How do you make money with indoor sensor data? Who cares about air quality in my bedroom? Okay, legitimate question again. Okay, let me just answer in this way. We have just submitted a few days ago a research proposal on air quality in households, involving air quality in households, together with a number of academic and corporate partners, which means that these data are deemed by experts as very important for public health studies, risk analysis for insurance, and a number of other use cases. So, data from your bedroom, when correctly analyzed and aggregated with data from other, say, thousands of bedrooms, are potentially relevant. And as I said several times, we are going to leverage them in a compliant way with respect to privacy and all that, in an anonymous way, but they are relevant. Next question is, what's the expected revenue from companies buying PlanetWatch data? Okay, that's a good question. It depends quite a bit on the specifics of the data set and on the type of data access request. So let's make some example. Suppose we are selling outdoor air quality data feeds to an online local newspaper who wants to get a widget on their web pages with real-time hyperlocal air quality information for people living in the area. For this kind of data products, pricing is typically based on the number of API calls per month, which sounds very technical, but in plain words, it means it depends on how many people want to see that information per month. So it depends on the size of the audience. For other types of data, like indoor data from a hotel monitoring system, the hotel is paying a price to have a turnkey solution from us. If we use the hotel data and aggregate them with data from other hotels and other venues worldwide, again, the pricing will really depend on the specifics of the data set. Whether the customer is interested in a breakdown of data by country, by type of business, whatever. I mean, the pricing would be tightly correlated with the kind of information that we deliver. So there's no unique, simple answer to this. Okay, then there is a question about whether we can release public information about sensor batches, which batch is open, which batch is sold out, etc. This is, of course, something needed. This will soon be available on the website. Okay. Another delicate question: is it possible to do something about people who buy a large number of devices on the web and then maybe just want to resell them on eBay or something like that? Of course, we don't like these people. We don't like this attitude, and we are thinking of what's the best way to mitigate these situations while not doing something which is too restrictive. So we will soon set up a threshold for sensor purchases via our website. If you are a business, if you have a legitimate and interesting project to leverage a large number of sensors, get in touch with us via business@planetwatch.io and we'll discuss it. But you should not attempt to buy a huge number of devices by the e-commerce, and we will soon bar it. Okay? Now, there's another person who's saying that he would really prefer that all sensors were sold by a PlanetWatch instead of sometimes by external companies. And he thinks that will mitigate some challenges, some issues with respect to price raises and all these things. Why don't we do this for all sensors that we onboard? Okay, that's a big issue and it's a complex one. So hardware management is a very important question for a project like PlanetWatch. At this time, you have to know that as a byproduct to some extent of the pandemic, the global electronic component market is very unstable. So as they say, it's a seller's market. It's very hard to procure components, so those who have it can raise prices very abruptly in a very arbitrary way in some cases. So prices can shoot up, some people would exploit it, and some people just need to live with this. So we are trying to mitigate all this by buying in bulk and then selling directly to you. And I've taken already a commitment with respect to price changes. If we need to change the prices of sensors, we will, but there would always be some decent notice period. If you already have your license, you will be protected against sensor price changes, as I explained. But unfortunately, this is all very complex. We cannot, at the moment, provide these kind of services effectively for all sensor types, at least for now, because we have big plans in a way. So, in particular, managing customs and stuff like that is a big job, and we just cannot commit too many resources just on that. It's very time intensive, very resource intensive, because if we just specialized on managing customs and logistics, we will be leaving other activities behind which are core for us, like network software and data analysis. That's the core. So again, believe me, we're putting a lot of work and a lot of thought on the hardware challenge, and the results will come. We are learning by doing, and we have plans. Last question for today. In some countries, there are restrictions on payment systems, PayPal, I suppose. Will there be alternative payment methods to buy a license? Okay. The honest answer is, I really hope that very soon everybody, or virtually everybody, will be able to buy on our website with planets. I think that's that's the best strategy, is to make sure that planets are available worldwide, and then it's our token, and that is the best I believe we can do and we can aim for. Okay, I've come to the end of my question list. I've taken exactly 30 minutes. That was not on purpose, but it's a good thing, I suppose. So again, you see I have this low-key style. It's me. It's not posing like somebody else. So I may not look enthusiastic through my face or through my horrible hair, but we are making huge progress. Progress means that there are lots of people knocking on our door, every kind of people. You can just imagine what kind of people, right? Companies, potential investors, media people. Everybody's very interested in PlanetWatch, and we are just working every day to make the most of it, to the benefit of our project, which is a community project. So we are going to keep the line that you see now. We are going to improve every day, hopefully on all the challenges. And at some point there will be times where there will be really very interesting announcements. And all of this will work if you keep supporting us and if you keep trusting us, because at the end of the day, I believe that trust is the key word, not just in business, not just in environmental monitoring, but in life. So if you keep the faith, we'll go very far, I believe. Thank you. Bye-bye. Have a good night and keep watching the planet.